This is Bottomlineburke. Respect. The expensive truth with Bottomlineburke. The expensive truth with Bottomlineburke.
The expensive truth with Bottomlineburke.
And that's straight to the bottom line.
All right, welcome back to another episode of The Expensive Truth with Bottomlineburke. Tonight, I have the honor, the privilege of interviewing a distinguished woman, somebody I've known since the pandemic. I remember she gave an exceptional interview with Biggs Burke, which prompted me to reach out to her, and we've been in communication on and off ever since then. She is one of the best publicists, not only here in Atlanta, but all the land. And we're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to just be talking about Atlanta itself and how it's evolved since her time here in Atlanta. And also, if you're new to Atlanta, which a lot of you may be, a lot of transplants, we're going to give some advice about how to maneuver this city and also how to handle transactional relationships and be able to differentiate between personal relationships as well. Those are the ones you should cherish. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Christal Jordan. What's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for having me, finally.
I know, finally.
The bottom line.
This is Bottomlineburke, baby. Yeah, so it's been a long time. Well, I want to say, first of all, congratulations on your marriage. You've been married now for a couple of years. And I've known you now since you were single.
Yes, you did.
And I know you now as a married woman.
Yes.
What were some unsurprising positive things now, ever since you got married? Mm-hmm. But also, what are some challenges that you're still kind of transitioning and now that it's just not just Christal, it's you as a union?
Yeah. So I think I have kind of like a unique situation because I was married early on.
Okay.
And I was married for like 13 years.
Oh, so this is your second marriage?
It's my second marriage.
Okay.
And I was single for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. So I kind of have the experience of being both married and single. Okay. And now I'm married again.
So you have some past experience.
I have a lot of past experience. But, you know, once you are single, and I grew up in a single family. Okay. So once I got divorced, it really felt familiar because I grew up used to seeing a woman struggle on her own. So I think I almost created that dynamic because I was always afraid of it. And I learned that what you fear,
it actually
you draw to yourself. Yeah. So while I was married the first time, I was always afraid of ending up like my family was growing up. Right. 2 boy and a girl, mom struggling. So I found myself creating that, ended up, not saying I was the cause for my divorce, but I think that fear, definitely had something to do with it, me ending up in that exact same situation, girl and a boy struggling.
Yeah. A lot of people say because it wasn't modeled, so you don't know how to actually operate or function. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, I didn't know how to. I did not know how to work as a union. I knew how to struggle independently, and I thought really because I didn't see a marriage model, so I really thought it was 2 people independently struggling. I feel like I was always trying to prove my worth. Okay. In my first marriage, always trying to prove I'm worthy. I got a good job. I'm contributing. I'm doing this, and that really wasn't the role that I needed to be filling. Right. So when I was single, like I said, it kind of felt like coming home to what I was familiar with. And I will say that that's the most difficult thing is now trying to do marriage the right way and trying to allow someone to really have my back. Right. You know what I mean? It sounds great. Everyone thinks that's amazing. Like, oh, I need a partner to come help me. But when you don't know how to accept help, it's difficult. And then you frustrate that person because you're trying to do everything on your own.
Right. So what was the moment you had that talk with yourself, or you kind of had the epiphany, well, I got to let some of these things go that I've been holding on to that basically are fallacies or insecurities to allow this current union to actually flourish?
So I had the benefit of getting a lot of therapy.
Okay.
We have not talked about some of that. And I actually went on Yellow Fancy.
That's right.
Yes, I went on Fix My Life, right? And I went on Fix My Life thinking that I was going to talk about the ridiculous dating scene in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But instead, I really did learn that I was creating my reality by the things that I believed and by just the negative narrative of there's not any men out here that are blah, 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 blah. I was creating that.
Right.
And so I learned that I needed to make space. And some of the things that I was doing subconsciously that I had no idea, unintentionally, because I really did want to be a good wife and a good partner. But I had so much built up and there were so many walls around that it was really an unattractive package for anyone wanting to try to even infiltrate that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't know, I'm not gonna say it's a black cultural thing. I don't want to be that general nor specific.
Right.
But I do agree with you. They always say if you change the way you think, you change the way you feel, change the way you feel, you change the way you behave.
Yep.
One thing that stuck out to me as a man just listening, when you say I got the money, I got the job, what else do I need? Right?
Yeah.
As a man, we hear that, and it's, you know, that's that masculine energy and things of that nature. How do you look at it now, as far as you embracing your femininity and applying that into the relationship? What, like that transition, I guess?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, like you said, I think that a lot of women, which is why I wrote a book about it, a lot of women don't understand. I was thinking what I wanted, right? And as a woman who grew up in very insecure situations, I wanted security more than anything.
Right.
So I was trying to be what I wanted.
Right.
I was trying to be the husband that I wanted.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. So I had a husband and I was trying to be a good husband to that husband, right? Which is why, again, not my fault that things went wrong, but I see how I contributed to that not being a healthy dynamic. I can take ownership of that.
Right.
So then being single, you kind of go back and you have to realize, oh, wait a minute, I am showing up as a husband, which is very unattractive to a man who wants to be a husband.
Right. I think a lot of times that language can get confusing and it's kind of cliche-ish now. I think in the ecosystem or just out there in the internet space or social media, a lot of femininity or a man's feminine if he's vulnerable or do things that are traditionally reserved for a female. Do you think now, looking back at this stage and age, a lot of that, as far as the money and the job, was you now were able to provide for yourself needs that may or may not have been met growing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to. I grew up, you know, very, and like I said, very uncertain. Like, you didn't know what are we doing? So I wanted to feel safe, right? So I wanted to create an environment where I could feel safe. I never saw there was no man around. So in my head, I thought, well, if we had a dad, things would have been different. That's not necessarily true, because there are a lot of people in situations with men and his situation was very different, right? But in your head as a kid, you think, oh, why are we struggling? It's because we don't have a dad, right? And so in my head, I thought, oh, how do I prove that I'm going to be good enough for this? Let me work on making sure that I'm not, without.
Right.
So go to college, get a good job, first of all, get straight A's, go to college, do well in college, get a good job, become successful. That's how I avoid this.
Right.
But never in there are we celebrating the other things about you that would make you a potentially good wife. Right. So I was very good at, okay, I do a good job taking care of my children. To take care of my husband, I thought that I needed to make sure, yes, I wanted to cook, but I wanted to be a good partner. So let me bring a good salary to add to this so that we're safe and our kids are not struggling. that's what I thought was basically what a man wanted. I learned.
Tell us what you learned, Christal.
That is not true at all. And I think a lot of women, we just don't understand. There's a huge disconnect between men and women. We don't understand that.
Right.
And so there's a friend of mine that's a podcaster. It's a show called Little Black Book. And he said this thing to me that I never forgot. I put it in my book. The only men who want to jump high fences are dogs. The only thing that wants to jump a high fence is a dog.
Right.
So when you build up this fence and you're doing all this providing, you're creating this great mansion and you got this portfolio, build these fences, and then you wonder why I can't attract a man that really wants to be a husband and take care of me.
Right.
You have, shown him that you don't want him. You put up enough barriers to keep him away. And the only ones that are going to try to penetrate that are the ones who don't have their best interest for you.
No, exactly. I think that's great advice. I think also a lot of times women who are successful, women who have secured the high-paying job, and they exude that.
Yeah.
They come with that top priority. And I think that a lot of times they say, "Oh, you just can't handle me." That's another phrase that's perpetually said by females. "Oh, he can't handle me." That's why if they have an attitude or insecurities, instead of just having that difficult conversation or saying, "Hey, listen, when I was growing up, I was uncertain. There was a security issue. I didn't really always feel safe or protected. That's something I need, and I overcompensated for this, and this." What, I guess, advice will you say, or share with women that are single, who have aspirations of being married, but they find themselves constantly, like kind of what you was going through for a period, where they keep breaking up, and one of the pastors at Change Church, I seen a video today, he said, the breakup a lot of time isn't about the other person, but it's about you.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even giving them a chance to break up. I was just out.
Oh, you was running. I'm a runner. I'm a track star. That whole thing. Okay.
My girlfriends were like, "Christal, your shoes are tied up. They're not even like." I never even let anyone get close to me.
Right.
So I can say, out of the time I was divorced, I've only loved two men in my life. My ex-husband and my husband now.
Right.
I didn't even come close because I just wasn't available. I wasn't emotionally available.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just learned it was pretty bad. My advice would be, first of all, I think that, two things can be true. I think there are some men who are resentful of successful women, and I did interact with some of those because I feel like I'm a very open person. I'm not the type of person that tries to be braggadocious or make people feel bad.
Right.
You may not be my cup of tea, I may not be your cup of tea, but I'm not a mean, person. So I did have some men that were just hateful to me when they learned, what I did for a living, to the point where I used to lie. I was like, I started telling men I worked in customer service. I had a guy say, "Oh, I Googled you," and you. So there are some men that are, not able to handle and they see your success as their own failure.
Yeah, I think the handling word is
That's the
trigger word, right? I think a better substitute for handling is capacity, right? Because given how you was raised, given how you're wired, given your life experiences, that requires a certain capacity within the man.
It does. To
have that conversation with you in order to genuinely connect. And it seems like your husband was successful doing so.
Yeah, so I think there are some men that don't have the capacity, right? And then there are some men that do, but because you have so many walls built up, you will run them away.
Right.
Because not everybody wants a challenge. In fact, most men do not.
Right.
So it's like, okay,
I don't know about right. That was too fast, but go ahead. For the brothers out there, that was just,
Well, it depends on the challenge, right?
Yeah,
so
because as an athlete, I guess that was a trigger word for me a little bit.
I saw you jump
Yeah. Because as an athlete, we embrace challenge. We like the challenge.
It's a type of challenge, right? So it's a type of challenge. It's a woman that you know, is quality, has value, but is not doing like this every time because there's other options. And it's like, why do I want to deal with conflict? Maybe not challenge, but conflict, constant conflict, right? And I found myself almost like trying to prove the person was not sincere. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah, I think the conflict, I don't think healthy conflict is good.
Right.
Dysfunctional conflict, obviously, want to avoid that, and toxic. You know, that type of back and forth isn't healthy as well. I think that also it's about being a good picker.
It is.
Right.
And taking ownership of what you have picked.
Yeah, and I think also sometimes if unconsciously or without or absent-mindedly, you might pick somebody that you may deem, oh, this is supposed to be for a lifetime, but it really supposed to only be for the month of February. Or it's only supposed to be a couple of years.
That is more like a male attitude.
Okay,
I don't think women actually pick someone for a short period of time. Men compartmentalize. Women don't necessarily. Most women, now there are some newfangled women now that are now operating in different.
But I'm talking more about mismanagement of the pick of your selection.
But I'm saying most of us are not picking for that. We're saying this is a guy. And usually it's not even a mismanage. You saw him, you liked what he looked like, you liked what he looked like on paper, you ignored the red flags. And that way, so it wasn't necessarily about him, because really, if he's not worth it, you shouldn't even spend February with him, because you can get off track. I agree. So you have to make sure, I feel like this, my biggest advice to women is do not ever pick a man that you don't respect.
I agree.
And there's so many men that you could be attracted to. You may enjoy him at night or throughout the day, in one way, but you don't respect how he handles how he takes care of his business. And for me, I remember one of my guy friends was like, Christal, it's gonna take you a long time to find someone, because there are a lot of men that I'm friends with, very few that I respect. And so you can never be in a healthy relationship with a man that you don't genuinely respect. You're not going to trust his leadership. You're going to resent him when he messes up, because everyone will. But if you respect him, then it's a different thing. So I do think that men need respect more than they need love, because a woman's going to love you, right? But because I can love a man and not respect him, but it's very difficult for me to respect a man and not love him.
Yeah, a lot. That's a question that's constantly asked, and that's something. My aunt, who was married over 6 years, Auntie Brenda, she says that as well. You gotta respect it. You gotta like the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
What was one of the winning behaviors or characteristics that your current husband showcased during your courtship or just during your relationships that was different from previous, but also you knew, okay, this may be a long term. This is the guy. Yeah,
it was a few things, and I number one, he was consistent, and he was comfortable in his skin. You know, I work in entertainment, and I'm around a lot of successful men, and just like, you know, men say that or women say a man can't handle them. There are a lot of men that don't, you know, a lot of times you think you want something, but you don't. A lot of men did not like the fact that I interacted with a lot of successful, you know, celebrated men, right? And he was the first that had, he was so secure in who he was that I saw how others responded to him, right? He put everything out on the table and told me who he was. He told me his negative and his positive. And that was something I could respect him.
The honesty.
The honesty.
And the transparency.
Like, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Like this is, and most people are going to send their representative. He did not send a representative.
Well, I think too, you're going to grow.
Yeah.
And you're going to change, right? I would imagine when you guys initially met, you both was at one place in life, but then you guys grew and had to kind of redefine, like you was talking about, you had to kind of grow and learn how to accept that it's just not Christal. Now you have to make room for a man, and he has his ways of doing things that you may not always feel comfortable with, but you had to make the adjustments.
Right.
And more so, I think, internally had to have some conversation with yourself to accept
Yeah, still
that
having those.
it doesn't look, it looks foreign, but he wants the best for you.
Yeah, still having those, still learning that. And but I think when a man is consistent and he has good character, and I'm around so many men that may have money or may have this, but their character. I saw how he loved his daughters. He's a father, and that was one of the things that attracted me to him. Is he really just is a good person. How he treated his friends, how he treated his family, because a person is going to be the person they are. They're going to show up in every place. So you could meet a person. I remember I went on a date with a guy, and he was like, well, you don't have to worry about my kids because they're not going to be around.
Right. That's a red flag.
That's right, red flag. And even if you're attractive, even if you got money, that is a red flag because that speaks to your character. And I had learned a long time ago, I need a man who has integrity that I can respect. Not just respect as far as his leadership, but respect who he is. You know, because my children were grown at the time, but I don't want a man in my home that my son doesn't respect.
Absolutely. That's a red flag. I remember dating a young lady that had multiple kids, and you know, I'm like, okay, he plays sports, I play sports, this is a no-brainer, you know what I mean? I could pour into him, I could show example, and he just rejected me. And I just didn't even know that was a possibility. It shocked me. It paralyzed me, quite frankly. It had me in a tizzy, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, because I'm thinking, okay, here you have this young man, play sports, I play sports. I'm a man, and I can. We had a lot of things in common, like to read, work out, things of that nature, travel, and what I grossly underestimated was his fondness and loss for his father. He yearned for his father, biological father, not some man that just showed up on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? But I think too, when you was talking about the red flags that both men and women ignore.
Right.
You know, when the countless men came and didn't like the fact that you was around other men because of your profession, those are thank you moments. And that was just clearly all these guys are eliminated.
I didn't realize that until later. When you're going through it, you're thinking, and I knew I was not going to stop doing what I did. One of my classmates was like, Christal, you may have to get a different job. And I was like, nah, Jacqueline Jordan did not raise a woman that would quit her job for something that's not, I'm not going to do that. And Vivian would roll over in her grave. My grandmother, they were very strong women. But I did spend a lot of time dealing with rejection, feeling like, well, you know, that's difficult. If I remember a guy, like, you know, made fun of me when he saw what I drove. He's like, oh, you're trying to be like a Real Housewife of Atlanta. And I'm like, not at all. Like, you got me totally,
or insecure,
he was insecure because of what he drove. Because he didn't want me to see what he drove, which I didn't even care. But the fact that you're making fun of my truck, and then we end up seeing your truck at the end of the night, it was all his own
insecurity. He clearly was projecting on you.
So, yeah, I did. A lot of times you wonder, especially when it's a person that looks like you want them to look, or they have the idea of what you think is the right fit. You know, I thought, well, why isn't it working? You know, am I just supposed to be single? And I got to that point where I was like, if I am, it's cool, because I'm not gonna be wanting something that doesn't want me.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy conclusion to have in self-talk, right? That self-talk is so important as far as how you proceed for the future, and how you see yourself, and position yourself and function for the next relationship. And I do think there is some validity as far as what profession you're in. That does have a direct correlation as far as the likelihood, and likelihood. You know, if you're traveling a lot, maybe marriage isn't it, or an arrangement, or some other type of things as well. How did you handle the rejection part during that time in your life?
I think I just got I went to therapy a lot. I talked to myself. I just try to make Christal better. You know what I mean? I did a lot of work on Christal, because I I've never been one of those type of people that thinks, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm like, no, this is something is wrong. And I didn't think it was as bad as it was, but you know what I mean? I did start to say, well, I want to be better because I ultimately wanted to be a great partner. You know what I mean?
What was one of the tough but honest truths that upon going to therapy, because we had therapy, we have no idea what people went for. They just went to therapy, right? Nobody gets a little specific about what it was. What was one thing that you discovered by going through therapy about yourself that you said, hey, this is something I need to focus on to correct, and then now looking back in hindsight, that actually benefited you to present yourself appropriately for your current husband?
So I'll give you one that I learned in therapy, and then an instance that I learned on a date, which felt like rejection, but ended up helping me. So one of the biggest things I learned in therapy is that I had filled my life up with everything, right? Because I didn't want to, you don't want to be lonely. So I just filled my life up with my children and with work. And I thought that was admirable because I'm like, I literally worked all the time. Like, probably not when I met you because we're in COVID kind of, you know, we're almost there. But before that, I would show up on a date with like 2 phones, emails going off. I would be always, and work was my savior because when I was heartbroken, I leaned into work. Right. And a lot of women do, like we level up.
A lot of men do as well,
But I think women take it a total different way. Like, you know, you hear the veto record, like, you know, get your credit up, get your body back right. That's what women do really well, right? We talk to our friends, get fined because we want to make sure that he knows what he missed.
Change your hairdo.
I cut my hair, which I should not have done. And I did all these things to, you know, but what happened is I had used work as a pain killer instead of really healing. So I was stagnant. And that I had not gotten over the pain of my divorce. I had just filled my life up with a lot of things. And that also was very unattractive to someone that comes and there's no space for them. But I did not see it that way at all. I just thought, oh, he's mad because I got stuff going on. No, you have no space.
And he wants you to be present. Put your phones away. Look at me. Say something nice about me.
I was not present. And I'm not even present for friends, you know. But it was not intentionally. It was because it was my crush. Like,
that's all you knew.
That's all I knew. And it's how I dealt with, you know, going through that so I don't go crazy. But sometimes what heals you have to go back and wean yourself off of, right? So if you get addicted to painkillers, it becomes an addiction and it's wrong. But it can get you through, you know, you need it at one point, but you got to know when to let it go. So I remember being on a date with this guy that I really liked because he was just very smart, and I've always liked really intelligent guys. And he looked at me and he said, I took a work call we were at this fancy restaurant. He said, get up and go outside. That's rude that you're taking a work call and we're having dinner.
So he set boundaries.
Well, I felt like he sunned the crap. But then I was just like, then I kind of was like, well, if you can tell me, then you can tell. Okay. Well, then I went outside and I was like, then I think I liked him more because he just like, I did not realize I was being rude. I really didn't. I really was so caught up in, and they had become very self-centered in what I was doing that I didn't. We're in this restaurant, lights are low, music is playing, and I'm talking to a client, and he just was like, what in the hell's wrong with you? You know? So, and we ultimately did not end up working out, not because of that. But the fact that he checked me and that he did not just let me, because most guys would just be like, and then, you know.
Yeah, he really, I would imagine he liked you enough to be honest.
He did. I like that.
He liked you enough to be honest. Yeah, I like that. I like this conversation. This is good. This is good.
Yeah.
I told you she gonna deliver. We're gonna take a commercial break, but we'll be right back after these messages.